First of all, I would like to welcome you all to the at-home open platform league sections. And I would like to start with my presentations here. So we can wait for the more attendees, about like 1 or 2 minutes. And I would like to welcome Dr. Fabrice Jumbel from France to join us. And he is the at-home league organizing committees. And let me introduce him a little bit. So right now, Dr. Fabrice Jumel, he is assistant professor from CPE Lyon Tech, France. And currently he is the organizing committee in RoboCup at Home League. And he attends the RoboCup so for many years. So I think he can be the one to explain the at-home league very well. So please, everybody, welcome Dr. Fabrice Jumel. Okay, uh, uh, Dr. Jumel, can you open your camera so everybody can see you here? Maybe not is fine.
Yes.
That is okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So,
Okay. Yes. You go first. Sorry about that.
yeah, so thank you for your introduction. I can start the presentation now.
As I talked with Mauricio, and he would like to for me to open the like the videos that came from the at-home websites. So could you please let me open the video first? It's about 8 minutes, and after that, I will let you present your informations. Is that okay?
It's a perfect start.
Sharing now. Okay, let me start with this one.
RoboCup at home. In RoboCup at home, highly intelligent interactive robots navigate new complex environments in tasks ranging from registering itself for the competition, performing service duties such as cleaning or butlering for previously unknown persons, to grocery shopping in real-world locations.
At Home started spontaneously by these researchers that wanted to start robots in the home environment, and especially not knowing what the home would look like.
RoboCup at home is application-orientedly. We could call it RoboCup for all people, but it doesn't really sound that good, so we call it RoboCup at home. It's about the tasks you do in a domestic environment.
Compared with RoboCup Soccer's abstracted environments, but highly sophisticated gameplay, RoboCup at home takes on an inverted philosophy.
So we took the concept of what they do in soccer and we turned it around. In soccer, the idea was to have a complex task in a simplified environment. But we said, okay, but every time you increase the complexity of the environment, for example, you take an orange ball and you make it black and white, then you have to adapt your vision algorithms to recognize a black and white ball. So what do you see? Only changing the color of the ball, suddenly the performance drops because the robots cannot recognize the ball. So you have this performance drops over and over again with the increasing complexity of the environment. So we said we have to take simple tasks in a complex environment instead of complex tasks in a simple environment. So we started with simple tasks like follow me.
We are now getting to the first spot where a person is passing between the walker and the robot should not be distracted by that, so that was nice. First stage is more kind of basic tasks of the robot, also in areas where they could have a pre-recorded map or something to navigate there.
And for example, we have tasks where the robot has to assist in cleaning or in cooking. There's a lot of difficulties involved. For example, the robot has to know where it is. The robot has to not only detect people, but recognize people. It has to be able to learn new faces within seconds. And there is no human assisting the robot with calibration.
This is then also judged by internal person in the league and also by external persons from the league. So to have the view from outside, so does it make sense from a really outer perspective?
The robots have to be polite, friendly. We take great care about the appearance of the robots. The robots have to look good. So we actually have a rule that says no duct tape.
When you come to RoboCup, the challenge is you are going to be given a new house built there in the field of play, and you are going to have to interact with humans and manipulate objects and move, and you have to learn the maps, and you have to be able to handle any home.
RoboCup at home is about the entire world area where people are in their daily lives. So we started in an apartment. I'm hoping to have like a little garden in a few years. And last year, we started to go shopping with our robots.
My name is Frederick. I'm from Team Toby from Germany, and we are currently preparing for the shopping mall task. So we don't know actually where we're going, somewhere in Istanbul most probably.
The teams, they only were told the night before which shop it actually was. So there was no time to make a map. They could not measure anything with measuring devices. The robots just had to work.
This is now a very special task in the at-home league named Shopping Mall, which is happening so really in the wild world.
Actually going shopping is the task, which is a nice task. So the robot first of all has to build up a map because the environment is unknown. One guide will introduce several objects to the robot, so he will be saying something like, yeah, this is the milk, or this is the Pringles, or something like that.
Memorize the Pepsi.
Can you confirm that? Shall I memorize the Pepsi?
Yes.
With pleasure.
The robot has to remember the position of the objects. At the checkout, the referee will say, yeah, I want to buy like 3 objects.
Fetch me the Pepsi.
Okay.
We don't really know which objects, but some of the objects that are in an official list. And then the robot has to autonomously go to the positions, find the objects, grasp the objects from the shelf and bring them back to the checkout.
It's not in the rules that we need to keep the space really free. It's even allowed that some people might walk by in the shop.
That happened last year actually to one of the teams, because there was a little kid that was quite fascinated by the robot, and even more fascinated by the red button on the robot, which was the emergency stop. All the other teams agreed that this is kind of an unusual situation, so they got a restart.
Shops are really colorful places, and the robot easily gets distracted from the right object. So one really challenge is to find and localize the objects that needs to be grasped, and then exactly the grasping is also a task that will not be successful with many teams.
We measure using statistics every year which robot brain components are working well and which ones are working not so well. And the ones that are working not so well, we give them more points next year.
The perpetually evolving rules and challenges of RoboCup at home spur innovation and important research questions for robotics in general.
In the beginning, it was difficult to convey the message to people that building applications is actually doing science, because they said, well, you're just engineering. We found that we have all sorts of troubles and there's no research to guide us. So by building the applications, we are actually figuring out what we have to research.
Research is frequently going on only in labs and misses many points that you need to consider for your robot. Because labs are more clean, labs are also kind of more artificial, so you cannot think of all the things that might happen to a robot that is acting in a real environment.
The goal, I think, in the beginning of RoboCup was to get the robots out of the laboratory. Started with soccer, and there were humanoids, rescue, And rescue is really out of the laboratory, although the environment is still controlled. And then at home, yeah, for us it was more or less the logical next step is to have an even less structured environment.
It was a very, how do you say, a beautiful kind of like also challenge. Nobody was doing this before. And the RoboCup at Home started, which now has more than 40 teams and all over the world probably more than 100 teams.
Change is essential at home. So next year we're going to start with introducing a sidewalk test, but somewhere this decade we actually want to start taking the public transport. Even if it's only one bus stop or one subway stop, we don't care. Go outside with the robots. Like we're already starting discussions about rights for robots, robots having a passport, being able to travel. In South Korea, they started in the parliament discussion about what should we do if there's an intelligent robot asking for the right to vote. You know, and they're discussing this, and it might sound silly, but who knows, in 10 or 20 years we have those robots.
This kind of future perspective, robots might operate around you in your own apartments and some kind of public spaces. This is a very important tendency and very important for also the research questions that we have.
So the league is about people and robots doing something in a domestic environment. What I really like about this league is the idea that we're really doing this to help people. I actually am convinced that having more robots in society will actually make society more humane.
Okay, thank you very much. And now I can stop my presentations and give the times to the OC, Dr. Jumels. Thank you very much, Dr. Jumels. And right now you can start your presentations.
Thanks. So I start to share my screen. Does it work?
Yes.
Okay. So we just have seen the video of presentation of the RoboCup at home, and it clearly shows the spirit. So the spirit is to make some robots that can help in real life for domestic tasks. The task could be very simple as manipulate object, but we want to be able to succeed with such tasks in complex environments. So globally, what is perhaps not so clear in the video, because we focus on the spirit, is that the robot must be able, in order to make this simple task, to succeed in a lot of skills. About the skills, we could speak about human-robot interaction. We have to be able to get the order of the people or to get some warning of some emergency procedure. Of course, we need to be able to cooperate with some human if it's needed for the task. One of the most important abilities that we need for the robots is to navigate into a complex and dynamic environment. Dynamic because we could have a lot of people moving in such environments. And of course, in order to be able to manage tasks, we need some capability to recognize objects. So computer vision and object recognition is two very important ability we need for the robot in RoboCup at home. And one of the difficult parts about that is, as it said in the video, that we need to manage all of this in such complex environments. And we just have a few time to be able to adapt the robot itself to the environment. We would be very happy and proud in the future that the robot could work in a way we call out of the box, meaning that we have nothing special to do on the robot, but at this time For example, we give one day to competitor to adapt their code with the arena they will find in the RoboCup at home, which is hidden to all people. So they will discover the arena when they arrived, and they will have to adapt. And if we consider some specific challenge, so for example, one of the iconic one is the restaurant challenge. So in the case of the restaurant challenge, the robot had to hack in a real restaurant. So we find near the RoboCup place where we can be accepted, and people have to manage the order of people inside a real restaurant. In the case of the real restaurant, there is no time for setup. So the robot must be able to act directly, but we have some assumption about how will be the start. For example, when the robot will be start, we know that we are in front of someone who can give some advice to the robot. So the robot will have to cooperate with the human. The human will have to present the restaurant, and next the robots have to be able to find the people who made some order and to give the order. Another part of the task is about object manipulation, because one of the important goals is typically to be able to give some object to people, or to be able to clean a place and to manipulate the object in order to let them in the appropriate place. So we have to some object manipulation. And one of the very important and specific ability we need for such robots are adaptive behavior, because in a lot of situations, for example, in the restaurant case, we are not sure of what will happen. So we need some robots which are not only simple sequential code, but a lot of adaptive parts in order to be able to continue to work in a good way, whatever happens. So we speak about adaptive behavior, ambient intelligence. Of course, one of the important part is to be able to integrate all the skills or ability we just speak about. So integration is very important, and we need reliable integration, because the robots during the test will just have few minutes in order to succeed in some tasks. So your robot have to work directly, and you just have few trial in order to score. So you have to arrive with a lot of integration and the ability that it works on time. About who is able to participate. So in the case of the RoboCup Atom, we have different cliques. We have three. Today, the talk is more focused on what we call the Open Platform 1. So in the case of Open Platform, you just need to have an autonomous robot. You have to prove it's not a danger for a human around. And you are able to participate. And the goal is to be able to make some tests. And we have a special part for the best team, which is an open challenge, where they can demonstrate the best ability of the robot, not only as described in the different tasks we are waiting for. If you want to participate, you have to be able on your lab to make one of the tests, and it's a plus to be able to show that you are able to make your robot working in a real world environment. So about the competition itself, we have a series of tests I will speak about later with some details. At this time, we have 4 leagues, the 3 ones which are cited here, so the domestic standard platform 1, the social standard platform, and the open platform 1. Globally, the rules are the same for the robots, but in the case of the standard platform, the people have to use a very specific robot. So this is in the case of the domestic, the HSR from Toyota. And in the case of the social standard platform, this is the robot Pepper from SoftBank Robotics. So Globally, the goal in the free league are the same. Some of the challenges are common. For example, the restaurant challenge is common with all the robots which are admitted to the challenge. Concerning the open platform link we must speak about today, we have no hardware restriction about what is used inside the robot. Just we speak about it have to be not dangerous for people. And you have a rulebook I will speak about next with different tests you can try to manage. And if you succeed to have some score, you will be admitted to the next level and perhaps to the final. As we say, the test includes some navigation, some object detection, object manipulation, human-machine interaction. This is what we have in all cases of test. One important part of the league is the rulebook, because we need a lot of information about how will be the different tests. So the rulebook is a very important part for a team which participate to the RoboCup at home. We have also GitHub with a lot of other information. So we can find all which is needed in order to create an equivalent of the test in order to manage the score, for example. We used to a Telegram group, so we can give a lot of information and have a simple way communication during all the year. And more especially during the competition, it's a good way to be able to communicate easily with all participants when needed. So about the rulebook itself, so I don't know if it would be visible for all the people. Perhaps I will make some scale up. So the rulebook is something like 50 pages, so it's not so much. It gives globally a lot of information about how the RoboCup at home is organized, and more precisely, all we need about what are the rules in order to be first qualified to the competition, and next how the competition itself will be. So I will go into the more interesting part quickly. So yeah, I will arrive. It's perhaps I will stop here. So as we said, this is a typical arena of the RoboCup at home. So we have something like which is like a real home. Inside we have different rooms. We have some place. We have a kitchen. We have some table. We have some sofa, TV, and a lot of other stuff. And we have some shelf and a lot of objects. And in some of the tests, this object will have to be found and manipulated. So these objects are part of the initial setup of the arena when you start the competition when you arrive on site in the real world competition, and you will discover this object that will be used, and you will have to adapt your code, or you will have to make your machine learning, which is more and more used now, in order to be able to find and manipulate such objects. About the competition itself, so we have a stage one. All the team which are admitted in the competition will be able to make some tests in the stage one. The best team next the stage one scoring will be able to go to the stage two. So we speak about something like half of the team. So in each link of the RoboCup at home, so we have 3 links, and we can. I will not speak a lot about the simulation one, but there is a simulation one, which is something new, which has been created due to COVID situation, but it will continue. So technically we have now 4 links, but the simulation one is a bit different. So about the stage 2, so half of the team will go, and in each league, in the international competition, we admit 12 teams, a maximum of 12 teams in each league. So we have something like, if we consider we have 3 leagues, we have something like 40 teams for the global competition. So at the end of the stage 1, we will have just half, and next the best one will go to the finals. I can see too that normally all teams in stage 2 are able to compete, for example, in the restaurant challenge. Now about the scenario itself, what the robot will have to do. So in the rulebook, we find a lot in. There is now something like 3 years. We have considered 2 big type of scenario. One is housekeeper. So housekeeper is how you have to clean, organize, and maintenance your home. And the second one, the party host, is more focused and linked with humans and non-humans. And in order to have such situation, we globally consider the case of a party, and the robots have to be in interaction with people during a party in the house. If we consider how it works next, in each category, so housekeeper or party house, we have different tests. I will give some example, and you can try with the test you want during this specific slot. So you can try all time the same test, or you can try to have a different test. If you are able to make different tests, you will have clearly more points. So if you can succeed to make a lot of different tests and not always the same one, you will have more and more points. We see in this slot the special case of the restaurants, where all robots from all league which are qualified for stage 2 will be able to go in the restaurant. If I go now to a specific test, so for example, I will go directly next this part. Okay. So, for example, in the case of the housekeeper, we have a general purpose service robot in which we will give an order, a vocal order to the robot. For example, could you say me if there is some coke in the kitchen? And the robot will have to go to the kitchen and find if there is such drink there. For example, we can have other orders. So we have a list of the possible order, which is an important one with something like 100 of different order you have to manage. For example, you could have some order with interaction with people, like go to the kitchen or another place and ask if there is a woman in this room, ask her if she wants to dinner or not, and come back to give me the answer. In the case now, for example, of the party host, we could have a receptionist task in which we have to manage people who arrive to the party, and for example, we have to go to the enter of the house. We have to ask people to follow and to be sure they follow you. When you arrive in the place where the party takes place, you will introduce the new guest to the guests which are in the room. So you have to remember all the previous guests in order to make correctly all this presentation. And next, you will have to be able to to get the order, the drink order of the new guest, and to give him what he asked for. About each of the tasks, we have in the rulebook so a presentation of how the task will be followed, and we have the score sheet to give how we will give point to the robot. So for example, in the case of the global purpose robot, we will have to be able to get the order, and we need to be able to succeed to complete the order. If you just get the information, you have globally no points. So we really need integration point. So you have to be able to follow a complex task. If I go, for example, to the other one I speak about, so I will go to the receptionist. So we have to find, in this case, a free place too. I don't speak about to say to the new guest where he can sit. So we see that we will have score if we are able to introduce correctly the new guest, if we are able to find the good order, the drinks that have been ordered, and so on. So with all the scores that you will be able to have during the different tests, you will be qualified or not to the stage 2. In the stage 2, we have globally same type of test, but with more dynamic situation. So in the case of the first part, globally you have no strange situation. In the second, it could seem to be the same, but you could have another robot which is in the room in the same time of you, and you could have some strange order. For example, could you go to the kitchen and keep the drink for me? But there is no drink in the kitchen, so the robots have to keep that there is a situation which is not logical, but you have to be able to find a solution about such a situation. So this is about how it works. Now I will go back to my presentation. So I give you some information about the rulebook. We have another part which is link. When we have, if you just read the rulebook, there is something strange because you don't have precise information about how it works now in my competition, for example, in Sydney when it was in Sydney, or in Montreal when it was in Montreal. So we have a specific part in the GitHub to give the local information. For example, now I project the special part of the GitHub for the competition there is something like 3 years. So we see here that we give information about arena and location. So here we can see how was the arena, because we need to share with different people the same names. So it's important that we have a place. So this is the reason of this GitHub, in order to have the same name about different objects and so on. We have information too about the object. So I speak about specific object. So for example, if I go here, I could have the name, for example, of the guest. So it was the name of the guest that you have to be able to manage in the party. You have, for example, the list of the object. So the object that you need to be able to recognize and manipulate. So, for example, it was the different objects we had and discovered the first day we arrived in the competition. So here you have the object, the name of the object, in order to be able to speak about, typically. And we have, of course, some schedule information in order to be sure that all teams know when they have to be able to succeed. Now, I go back to the presentation. So about the participation, we have a call. We have a call for participation. The first one have been concluded at the beginning of the year. Now we have a second one, so it's still possible for some team to try to participate. So we have the second call for participation with the available slots. So all this information are on the official website, but it was just to speak about what we need. So we need a lot of stuff in order to be qualified. We need first to have a video inside which shows that we are able to make a robot working on at least one of the tests, including lots of different abilities. So the test normally needs to be able to recognize objects, to have some vocal interaction, and to be able to manipulate objects and so on. So you need a video in which you try to show and to prove that you are able to succeed in such scenario in your lab. You need a document which is an 8-page long one, in which you describe your robots, you describe the architecture, hardware if needed. In the case of open platform, it's needed, and all software aspects. And we need some information about a scientific paper, organization of the team, what are the scientific approach of the team. Some teams are more engineering teams, but globally all the teams involved in the RoboCup have a strong link with research. So here we have the details of what is attended in the TDP. And next, you need two websites. And one important part of the website is the link with your GitHub. One of the important spirit of the RoboCup, more generally of the RoboCup, is an open source approach. It's not just a competition. RoboCup is not just a place you go to win in a league. It's a place you go to share and globally to improve. You want that your lab improve, but you want to that globally all team involved in the RoboCup grow up and go to better solution. So it's really important to have GitHub. And when you start, one of the usual way to start is to go to the GitHub of the different teams and to keep lots of information of what type of solution are used, how do they solve the problems they can have with integration and so on. So for the team, you have to show during the qualification part that you are in this spirit of open source. Here we have an example of all the teams. So we have just one arena. So generally we have three, and we could it could involve. So I speak about something like 40 teams. And in each teams, we could have something like 3 to 20 people. So it gives the idea of how many people are involved in RoboCup at home. We really need a lot of people in the team. Due to COVID situation, more and more teams are testing a situation in which just few people are physically in the competition, but a lot continue to work in the lab. But it's clearly better to have all the people of the team in the place when it's possible. And you see in these pictures a different type of robots. So we had some social robots, some of the paper from SoftBank. We have the Toyota HSR, and we have different open platform robots in the picture. Here we can see a classical arena, but we have seen previously different one. Here we still have the robots. Here we can have some photo of the classical shelves. In some tests we have to manipulate objects which are on the table or on the shelf. And we can see here some picture of the restaurant case. So when the robot has to be walking inside. I let in the video some link to video. As I said, all team have to produce a video to qualification, and generally all team had a lot of video on their website. So with the keyword RoboCup at home, you can find a lot of very interesting video on YouTube, and I just let there some if it was needed during the presentation. Here we have during the final, the teams are clearly more free in order to show what they want. So for the final, you have two criteria. You have to make some real demonstration with real interaction. So it's not something like you show a video or you have a simple script. So generally, if there is some interaction with the robot, you will take people from audience. So you have to show that your robot is really able to do something in real life, but you are free to demonstrate what you want. And for the final and rank, you have to consider too what was your gift to the community, especially in the case of the open source. So one important part to be at the end on the first place is to demonstrate that you are clearly in the spirit of the open source community to make the league go to better results each year. We can see here a classical setup around the arena with the team. So it was this photo was my team. We just was 4 in Montreal, but we have a team with something like 12 or 50 people involved during a competition, which is classical. And here you see another very iconic robot. And how he is able to manipulate the door of the shelf, and next he will be able to manipulate different objects. So I try to be not so long, so we can have some discussion or question. So I will stop. Here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Jumel. And right now is the sections of questions and answers. If you have the questions, then you can raise your hand, or maybe you just type into the chat. Then I can ask Dr. Jumel for you. Okay. So do you have the questions? Okay. I let you think about it, but let me ask. Okay. There are some questions about the current rulebook is finalized or not, or it will be finalized, the others version for RoboCup 2022.
So about the rulebook, we will globally reuse the one from the last in real competition. So it was in Sydney. So we will make some little improvement on it. Generally, the final version is done on May. So, but there is just some little change. But as it's the case in all the RoboCup league, the rulebook is managed by the team themselves. So they elected some technical committee, and this is the job of the technical committee to work on the rulebook. So a big improvement was made on the rulebook for Sydney. Perhaps there would be some change in order to simplify some parts, but the spirit will be globally the same, and it will done for me globally. Yes, there will be just really little change next.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have one more questions from attendees. Is there minimum limit in participant age?
I don't think so. So clearly there is no minimum limit about if you are an adult. So there is normally people are adult from 80 to we have some people which are now probably more than 60 which are involved. But I'm not. I never have the case about if it's possible to have some children, but I see no reasons it would be not the case. But in this case, we are the team which have to be able to manage the children. So I don't see any problem about the children, but I'm not. I don't know how it are managed globally children when they are not in the junior part of the RoboCup. But for me, there is no limit. No minimum limit and no maximum limit about age.
Okay, thank you. And we just received a new ones. Do you have any suggestion for a new team to join RoboCup at home? Any suggestion?
Yeah. So about the process, first of all, there is another league which is called the RoboCup at Home Education. Clearly, RoboCup at Home Education is a place when you could arrive with clearly newbie, and they will start, and the robot will be rent for modic price for the time. So RoboCup at Home Education is the best place for the newbie. Next, if you are not so newbie, and as I say newbie, you can be really starting from zero for education. Next, we have the idea of the RoboCup at Home is of the RoboCup at Home competition, the international one, is normally the international final. So the best situation is that when you are a new team, you start with some local, regional competition. So, for example, there is a lot in Asia. There is some on Europe, in Germany each year. There is some for example, in Brasilia or in Mexico. There is some local competition. So a good start is to go to local competition. Sometimes we accept some new team, but in this case, new team means that in labs they are able to succeed some task, because it's very hard to what is really hard during a competition is that you have some slot for your robot, and the slot are you for example, this afternoon you have 2 slots of 5 minutes. So your robot has to be ready and to start in your 5 minutes slot. For a new big team, it's very, very hard to manage. So it's better to go in competition in which you have something like, when you are ready, go in the arena and do something. In the organization of the final, international final, it's very strict to manage. So for a new team, they could be not able to do anything, and it could be very frustrating. But another part which is really important for a new team is to send some, if it's not possible for you to go to some local event, you have to send some people of your team to go to a competition and to see how it happens. Because when you just read the rule book, it's not enough to get how it worked. You could have all the rule books, you could have the video, you could have the GitHub of the team with all the code which were used, but globally you are not prepared to what it is to be a competitor during the stuff. And one other part which is really, really difficult is that the normal case for a new team is that, for example, you will walk. In order to be able to succeed the test, you have to you have to consider that it's something like if you start, for example, in a classical case, meaning, for example, you have some Turtlebot and you are able to use it in your classroom or equivalent, you need something like 1 year of engineering work to be able to make one test. So if you have a team of, for example, 4 people, it could be done in 2 months, but full time, just in order to make one test. And I present you some tests. We have to consider there is something like 12 tests. So just to manage one, you need 1 month of engineering. And sometimes when you will go to the competition, so you just prepare one test, and it's not sure you will be able to make any score with this test, because you needed 1 year in your lab to succeed in your lab with the condition of your lab. So sometimes you try to create some unknown case in your lab, but it's clearly not the same. So if I had to give a very simple advice, the best way to be ready for a RoboCup at some situation is, first, you have to manage to make one test in your lab. It's a lot of work, as I say. When you succeed to do this first test, go to a real competition spirit, meaning now I will not try to make a second test. I will give me 1 day to be able to make the same test in another place. So I take my robot, I go out of my lab, I go for example, in the house of one of the competitor or one of the people of my team, and I try with new object, new place. If you succeed with 1 or 2D setup to make your robot able to make scoring, it could be very minor one, but you succeed. Now you are ready to make real competition. So very important to move from when you think you are able to make something, move from your lab.
Okay, thank you very much. So we can have maybe 1 or 2 more quick questions.
I see the question about the restaurant. If we have time to mapping, no, we have no time to map in the restaurant. This is what is really specific to the restaurant case. You are able to, what you can do is to map during the time you are in interaction with the human, which will receive you when it starts. So you have a human with you from the restaurant, and you can map during your interaction, and you move with the people, but you have no time to make anything in the case of the restaurant before the start of your robot in competition mode.
Okay, is it clear? So I think I saw the next questions. In carry my luggage, do a robot have to go outside the arena?
Yes. Generally, it's the case. It depends of the configuration, but yes. So you can be able to be in interaction with real audience. It's not so difficult, because when you do your mapping, you can add the part just outside of the arena. So it's clearly not so difficult as it was with the restaurant, but it's not so simple, because if there is a large audience, it could be a trap to use a mapping system, because you have no real way to find some wall to synchronize data in your usual mapping system. So in the case of carry my luggage, when we are outside of the arena, it's clearly better to have a way to be able to go back to the arena, considering that your usual case of mapping used inside the arena is not able to work correctly outside due to audience, especially.
Okay, thank you very much. So for the audience, do you have more questions about the Open Platform League at home Open Platform League? Okay, yes, the last one, maybe, because of the time restrict, what is the time limit in each task?
So, concerning the first stage, first of all, when it's your tour, you have normally you know something like 1 minute previously that it's you. Normally you know from a long time when it's your tour, but you could lot of previous team could fail, and your slot could come quicker than you expect. When it's your time to start, you have something like when your robot starts, and we say now it's you have to start. You have something like 30 seconds to be able to move and to show that the robot is not freezed. So the start is really a problem that your robot has to do immediately something to prove it works correctly. So he can say, I try to move or something else, but you don't have to show for more than 30 seconds that you are freezed. And it's clearly, for newbie team, it could be very, very hard just to manage this. Next, you have very few times. So in stage one, the classical time is 5 minutes. And 5 minutes is really, really a small amount of time. If we consider that in 5 minutes, you need to be able in some situation to go from one room to another. So for some robots, just move inside the arena in 5 minutes is really hard. So for some tasks in 5 minutes, we normally we want you to manipulate an object to have an interaction with one people, and all of this in 5 minutes. In the case of the second stage, and this is a reason why we need to not qualify all the team in the next level. It's in order to give more time to the teams. You have more time, and generally the time scale is a quarter of hours. So you have 50 minutes for the task in the second stage.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think we just have 3 minutes left. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Jumel, for presenting the at-home Open Platform League today. And if you have, if the audience have any other questions, feel free to ask here, and I will deliver that questions to the at-home league community, or maybe TC or other OCs, and then I will reply back to you if you have other questions. But for now, because the time is limited, therefore I would like to ask you to have a big approach for Dr. Jumel to come to help us today. Thank you very much, Dr. Jumel.
Thanks.
Okay, and I think that is the end of these sections. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you in RoboCup, and hopefully you can create a better robot every time.
See you soon.
See you. Good night, or maybe a good evening for you. Thank you very much.